never miss another Johnny Walker LA video again. Make sure you subscribe and turn on post notifications so you're always in the loop for the latest Laker news, mock draft, and college top 10. In last year's NCAA tournament, we learned that redemption can be a team's sweetest revenge. After an embarrassing first-round upset to the 16th seeded UMBC last year, the Virginia Cavaliers were on a mission this season to prove that last year was a fluke, earning another spectacular regular season record of 33-3 and making their way to the national championship game, claiming their first national title in school history in an 85-77 victory over Texas Tech. Last year, we predicted the 10 teams that would have a chance at a national title even before the season began, and was foolish enough to underestimate the Cavaliers and leave them off the list. This year, we look to do better and use the knowledge we learned from last year to predict the next crop of teams that may have a chance to win a national championship this season, and the 10 teams that can win the NCAA tournament in the 2020 basketball season. The 2019 Blue Devils started on fire with moments of dominance early in the college basketball season, but as the season wound down, the Blue Devils began to reveal cracks in their armor, finishing with a 32-6 regular season record, but were able to put it together during the ACC tournament, earning the title with the victory over Florida State. The NCAA tournament will be a different beast for the Blue Devils, as they would fail to make it past the Elite Eight for the second year in a row. Expectations will be high once again this season, as the Blue Devils have once again pulled in one of the top recruiting classes in the country, headlined by Vernon Carey Jr. The big man, ranked 6th by ESPN in the class of 2019, will look to prove he is as NBA ready as some of the Blue Devils' past big men, but he won't be alone in trying to become NBA ready, as the Blue Devils have 3 other top 50 recruits in the class of 2019, and Matthew Hurt, Wendell Moore, and Cassius Stanley, who will look to fill the shoes of the Blue Devils' departed players. Top high school point guard Trey Jones will return for his sophomore year with the Devils. After having an injury-plagued freshman year, the Blue Devils will look upon him and the other returning veterans like Gavin Devalier, Joey Baker, and Alex O'Connor for leadership during the season as Coach K seeks his 6th national championship. The North Carolina Tar Heels had a ton of expectations headed into the 2018-2019 season, and last season in the ACC showed why teams should fear them, winning the conference regular season title with a 16-2 record. But come tournament time, the Tar Heels struggled to find momentum, losing in the second round in the ACC tournament, then fell in the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament. While a disappointing result to the season, 3 Tar Heels were selected in the first round of the 2019 NBA draft. In addition to losing veterans Luke May and 7th Woods, the Tar Heels will have a lot of retooling to do to compete in a tough ACC conference, but Coach Williams has accepted the challenge by recruiting some of the top high school recruits to compete for a chance at a national title. This year's Tar Heels recruiting class will be headlined by Cole Anthony, the top-ranked point guard in the class of 2019, will be joined by another top 20 recruit and center Armando Barcat as the new centerpieces of the Tar Heels roster. Coach Williams may have to rely more on graduate transfers Justin Pierce and Christian Kelling to see a return trip to the tournament in his 18th season of coaching. The Arizona Wildcats will look to bounce back into the conversation as national championship contenders. After a disappointing 2018 amid major recruiting scandals, the Wildcats just barely finished with an above 500 record, finishing the regular season at 17-15 and missing the NCAA tournament for the first time in 6 years. Top high school recruits Josh Green and Nico Mannion will be the leading figures in trying to reshape the Wildcats program, while also looking to pursue their NBA dreams. Arizona Wildcats coach Sean Miller has been the master of getting their top players to the next level, but finding that tournament success has been missing from his resume, failing to reach past the Elite Eight in his coaching tenure. In many of the years in the past, the Wildcats were lacking that veteran experience to put them over the top, but this year will be a different story, with returning veteran Chase Jeter leading the charge as last year's second leading scorer and leading rebounder. In addition to guard Dylan Smith and forward Ira Lee, the Wildcats will have great complementary pieces to compete in the Pac-12 and see a return trip to the NCAA tournament. The blue blood Kentucky Wildcats are never to be counted out of the NCAA tournament, even as they continue to produce multiple first-round picks year after year. In 2018, the Wildcats were loaded with a great mix of returning veterans and freshman talent. The Wildcats were able to put together a strong 30-7 regular season record and produced a strong tournament run before an eventual loss to Auburn in the Elite Eight. The floor will be open to the Wildcats' newest top recruits, Khalil Whitley and Tyrese Maxey, who ranked 12th and 13th in the class of 2019. Coach John Calipari will look to develop them into pros while also developing his returning veterans, who may be among the best returning casts he has had in his coaching career. Last year, the Washington Huskies basketball program broke a 7-year curse of missing the NCAA tournament by achieving a 27-9 regular season record and placing first in the Pac-12, in only the second year under coach Mike Hopkins. With back-to-back seasons with 20-plus wins, the Huskies are starting to gain national recruiting attention after landing 2 top 10 recruits in the class of 2019 in Isaiah Stewart and Jaden McDaniels, who will be looking to take their game to the next level. After losing in the second round of the NCAA tournament last year, the Huskies will bring back key figures Neziah Carter and Hammer Wright, who will be joined by 5-star transfer guard Quadjay Green to play alongside their top recruits to make another run at the Pac-12 title and a deep NCAA tournament run. The Louisville Cardinals will be a popular pick to succeed come NCAA tournament time. After returning many starters from a year ago, second-year head coach Chris Mack will look to bring success to a program that has been rocked by recruiting allegations. The Cardinals were able to sneak in the NCAA tournament with a 20-14 record last year, but wouldn't last long as they would lose in the first round of the tournament. The team's leading scorer will return for his junior season to try and avenge his early round defeat, and with good numbers this season, could see his name called in June. The Cardinals will also have 3 other returning starters from a season ago, in addition to a strong recruiting class headlined by the 24th ranked recruit by ESPN Samuel Williamson. The Cardinals have all the making of a team capable of turning a poor season a year ago to a national championship run this season. The Marquette Golden Eagles are destined for a big year this year. After being one of the top offenses in 2018, the Golden Eagles will return home some key starters that could see them achieve even greater heights. Last season, the Golden Eagles finished with a 24-10 overall record and placing second in the Big East, thanks in large part to point guard Marcus Howard. Returning for his senior year, Howard has all the tools to become a Player of the Year candidate and finally push the Golden Eagles past the first round, a task they haven't achieved since 2013. The Golden Eagles will suffer big losses in the front court after transfer of twin brothers Joey and Sam Hauser, but bring in Utah State transfer Kobe McQueven, who is set to be the team's X factor when things get tight, along with returning starters Saknan Anim, Theo John, Ed Morris, and Greg Elliott. The Marquette Golden Eagles are set to be a well-experienced team that is ready to take the next step in the postseason. It has been a while since the Florida Gators have made noise in the NCAA tournament, but this season just may be the year the program begins to get back into the championship conversation. After struggling down the stretch of the 2018-2019 season, the Florida Gators were still able to sneak into the NCAA tournament as a 10th seed, but failed to get past the second round, losing to Michigan. The tournament experience is sure to push returning players Noah Locke, Andrew Numbard, and Keontae Johnson to take their games to new heights during the summer, but the Gators' new additions are the reasons why they may be contending for a national title this year. Graduate transfer Kerry Blackshire has already solidified himself as a viable playmaker during his time at Virginia Tech, but now with the Gators, he will bring valuable tournament experience to a team loaded with freshman talent from the 2019 class, headlined by the 10th best prospect in the class, the explosive shooting guard Scotty Lewis, who will be joined by fellow newcomers Trey Mann and Omar Payne as key pieces to bring the Gators back to the Final Four. Last season, the Houston Cougars basketball program set a program record for wins after acquiring a 33-4 regular season record, then proceeding to break barriers in the NCAA tournament as they would reach the Sweet 16 for the first time in 35 years. The AAC regular season champs have been pushing year after year to bring back that excitement from the Cougars' last championship run back in 1984, and this season just might be the year they have the pieces to do it. The Cougars will lose some key figures that helped the team set records just a year ago, starting with the leading scorer Corey Davis Jr. and second leading scorer Amani Brooks. Taking their place, the Cougars would acquire Kansas transfer guard Quentin Grimes and return veterans Chris Harris Jr. and Fabian White, along with other starters who will need to have increased presence on the team as they tried to avenge a Sweet 16 loss last season. After years of great regular seasons but poor postseason results, the Michigan State Spartans finally broke through in the 2019 NCAA tournament, reaching the Final Four for the first time since 2000. But a disappointing loss to Texas Tech crushed the Spartans' championship hopes. This year, the Michigan State Spartans have all the tools to be the last team standing in March, starting with the returning preseason All-American point guard Cassius Winston, who will have his final opportunity to bring a championship to the Sparties. This year, he will get his backcourt mate Joshua Langford back from injury, after only playing 13 games last season. His chemistry alongside returning players Xavier Tillman, last year's Big Ten Sixth Man of the Year, Aaron Henry, and the Spartans' 5 other players with starting experience will be the keys to determine if the Spartans can make that championship run. Now that you've seen the list of the top 10 college basketball teams that could win the NCAA tournament in the 2020 college basketball season, do you agree with the list? What 10 teams do you think are primed for a national championship run? Leave it in the comment section below, but until then, it's been your boy, Johnny Walker LA, and I'm out. Bow!